we are completely debt-free. We're baby step 3B. We've been saving for the last about 2 years for our down payment of a home. We decided to go with a new build, and we chose a 7-year ARM as they were having some end-of-the-year incentives for quick move-ins. And we thought that would be a good idea. I kind of think I know what you're going to say. I have all the numbers and specifics of it, but we feel like it's going to allow us to ease into the home buying purchase and all the payments that go with it, and we can afford it once the 7 years is up, but we wanted to get your opinion on it.
You can afford it once the 7 years is up. What do you mean?
So, for the first 7 years, we're going to have a lower rate. So the first year will be a 1.7.
Yeah.
Second year will be a 2.7. Mm-hmm. And then, at the end of it, it's going to go up, our payment, and it's going to like plateau at a certain point. Mm-hmm. But the first 7 years, they're kind of giving us a discounted rate, so we don't have to pay as much.
Yeah. And 100% chance at the end of that, it's going to be more.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. So you bought a house you couldn't afford?
No, we could afford it. Yeah, it's actually quite in our budget.
If you took out a 15-year fixed, can you pay it?
Well, the 15-year fix would be 32% of our take-home pay.
So you bought a house you can't afford. Okay. Yeah. You called in here, Willis, knowing what I was going to say, right? You've been here before. You've been listening for more than 20 seconds, haven't you?
For the most part. Yeah. For the most part. We our goal, and I've heard a lot of finance guys talk about it and making the spread on the stock market and those sort of things. We plan on starting a family, and as a first-time home buyer, and we thought that it'd be incentivized to have like that lower payment the first couple of years and use that extra money to pay towards the principal. We plan to be super aggressive where we have that wiggle room to pay down the principal as much as possible and then refinance at the end of the 7 years.
Well, that's assuming something doesn't happen that prohibits you from refinancing, in which case you get foreclosed on. Because you've added risk to your scenario. And for 35 years, I've taken calls from people who things that they didn't expect to happen to them happened to them, and they were unable to refinance. And so, and you can't pay aggressively on this. Aggressively might be the emotion, but it's not the math, because you don't even have the money to pay a 15-year. You don't have enough income coming in to pay it at 15 years. So that tells me you can't pay. You can't aggressively
we do have enough
add to
income.
it. No, you don't.
We have about
your 15 years, 32% of your take-home pay.
Yeah.
That tells me mathematically you don't have any money to be aggressive. The aggressive word is an emotional word, but it's not a mathematical reality.
I guess the point, we're looking at an income of last year where I came home with about $180,000. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to this year, I'm projected to make at least $260,000, and my wife is not working right now. So we're going to very quickly double our income as this year. So
assuming everything goes the way the plan of mice and men want it to go.
The last 2 months is the plan that the numbers that we're looking at, we should be able to with this new year.
I'm sorry, let me stop this.
Course.
Okay. What is it that you want from me?
I guess your opinion, with the 7-year rate.
I think it's stupid.
With our extra margin, it is stupid.
Yeah.
So should we cancel the loan and
you should have a 15-year. You should have a 15-year fixed rate where the payment is less than a fourth of your take-home pay. I've said that like 9 million times on the show, and otherwise you're buying too much house. And if your income is going up so quickly, and you're going to be so prosperous, that should be no step for you. It should be no issue for you. But you rationalize the piss out of this, man. You got rationalization down, and you've crunched so much math that your eyes are crossing. And it's wrong, because what you're doing is with an adjustable rate is you're taking on more risk. And 100% of adjustable rate mortgages start in the hole. It's a margin over an index, and the margin over plus the index is always more than the introductory rate, which means at the first point of adjustment, it's going to max. At the next point of adjustment, it's going to max. At the next point of adjustment, you've lost your dadgum job, and the thing maxes, and you lose your house, because all this prosperity that you projected as the only possible outcome in your life is wrong. Other things happen in your life, and you've set your life up to not survive any storms. And when the big bad wolf comes and he blows your straw house down, that's what's going to happen. I'm telling you to build a brick house. Be the pig with the brick house. Be the third pig. And that's what we teach here. This stuff works in good times and it works in bad times, and it's the only system that does. So please rethink this. You asked me my opinion, and I love you enough to tell you the truth. I want you to win. I hope you prosper. I hope you go make 160 and 260 and 360 and 460 and nothing bad ever happens in your life. But you'll be the first person I ever met that never had anything bad happen in their life.
Yeah, you're assuming risk with the loan and then assuming that you'll have nothing bad happen in your life. And I understand it because you're in your early 20s, but you're talking to two older guys, and honestly, you got more time with Dave on this topic than I think anybody else would get. You're very generous right now. I can't believe the call lasted as long as it did, but you're very generous.
I think he's got a good heart.
Well, of course he does.
I'm such a math nerd. It's the same mistake I would have made at 24. It's the same mistake I did make at 24. That's why I went freaking broke.
That's the point. So don't call somebody who's been doing it for 4 decades and who made the mistake himself and try to talk him into your version of it. You know, this is the thing. We don't know what we don't know when we're in our 20s. So, listen to wisdom and experience.
What I'm looking for after I went broke, when I was 28 years old, I lost everything, Willis, because I was stupid. And I assumed the mythology that everything was going to keep going like it had always gone. And it never does. Things change. And the tax law changed. The banking laws changed. The S&Ls went broke. And Dave was on the hook for something that couldn't possibly go wrong.
Yeah, right.
And it went wrong big time. A lot bigger time than even what we're talking about with you. A lot bigger time. And so what I've learned is that I'm looking for systems and elements of truth in my marriage, in my relationships, in my money that work in good times and they work in bad times.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have both. If it only works when everything's working, it's not the truth. It's a facade. It's you're driving down the street and you walk through the front door of the house and you realize you're on a movie lot and there's nothing behind the front door. That's a facade. That's a fake truth. It looks like it's something, but there's nothing back there. And so I want to build my life after having gone broke and almost losing my marriage almost 30 plus years ago. And I want to teach other people as often as I can to build something that is the third pig. Be the third pig. Be the brick house. Take a little longer to build it. Buy a little less. Take a little more time. Be a little more careful with the budget. Don't try to be tricking everything. Don't look for a shortcut. There's no shortcut to any place that's worth going. And just take your time. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it yields a harvest of righteousness. Live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. And that's the basis for everything we teach on this show. If you want to do the hot and bothered, sexy thing and go do it, all of you, you're not going to like it when you call in here because I'm going to love you enough to tell you the truth.
You know, the one thing you missed, you gave him great advice, but your very first response should have been, "What you talking about, Willis?"
That's a dad joke. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Real Estate the Ramsey Way. Now, if you're here, you're probably thinking about buying or selling a house. It's exciting and one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. But you don't want to do it with an inexperienced agent who will rush you into costly mistakes, like the ones some of our callers find themselves in. You need a pro who knows what the flip they're doing and will keep you on track with your financial goals. That's why we only recommend Ramsey Trusted Real Estate Agents. These are vetted, hand-picked pros who actually listen to your needs, guide you through the process, and fight to get you the best deal. To find a Ramsey Trusted Agent near you, go to RamseySolutions.com/trusted agent. That's RamseySolutions.com/trusted agent.
They're putting in low-income housing literally across the street from us, about 600 feet from our house.
Ugh.
We still owe $150 in mortgage, but we got a really good deal on this house like 5 years ago because it was a direct sale, and we knew the folks that were selling it. We have some really, really good neighbors. My husband now just works 10 minutes from the house when he was before commuting about an hour and a half. And I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and we're planning on having another. So we're just trying to figure out if we should move, because if we move anywhere, it's kind of, we won't be able to afford it. Like, whatever we get on this house will likely be less. And if we stay, from what I read, when Section 8 goes in about the housing market, the area loses about 40% of market value.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take a deep breath. Okay. Because I would have all those same concerns that you have, legit concerns. But we have to parcel out the concerns versus the facts and see what the risk is. This is all about mitigating risk, right?
Right.
What are your neighbors saying? Is anybody else as informed as you are? Are they more informed? What do we know?
More informed, some of us. So we've gone to our town meetings.
Okay.
And basically the town voted no, but the state came in and overrode us.
Okay.
And said, too bad, you have to do it. And our neighbor has lived here, they're in their 60s, and they both grew up in the neighborhood, so they don't want to leave.
Okay. What is your house?
Everyone in our street.
Have you gotten some legit real estate comps?
So a street similar size to us that was built. So our house was built in 2013, and there's an older house that just sold for almost $500, and we bought our house for $430.
Okay, but you only owe $150 on it.
But we only owe $150. Yeah,
okay.
We got $150.
One other thing I want to address, and it's not a back and forth, but I do think it's important in this process to mention that, you said something a few minutes ago that, well, if we move, there's no way we're going to be able to afford to live somewhere else. And that's just simply not true. Right now, you may have to move further than you want to, but I do think when you're making decisions like this, you can't be operating in really extreme falsehoods. Okay, because then you'll end up making a decision based on a false narrative. So, do you understand what I'm saying and why I'm challenging you on that?
Yeah.
Because this may be the best option for you guys to move. I don't know that it is yet. But if it is, you can't have this mindset of, well, we're just simply not going to be able to afford to go somewhere else. The state has unfortunately come in and put you guys in a pickle. And that stinks. But now we've got to make the best decision moving forward.
Right.
Do you have any information on how it's going to be parceled out? Is it going to be a lot of units, or is it going to be spread out?
So they're putting in 40 units on 2 acres. And they're really congesting our block. We said the town tried to go with 20, but the builder said we need 40 because they don't pay. They don't usually end up paying their rent on time, so they're relying on states and federal subsidies.
Do you have a real estate pro?
No.
Okay. RamseySolutions.com. What is the actual website so I give it correctly here? Team's going to help me out. We'll get it to you in just a second. What is it?
Okay.
I'm not hearing in my ear.
Oh, can you hear me?
Okay. So RamseySolutions.com /agent. Is that right? Okay. Sorry about that. I just didn't have that in front of me. Because here's the deal. I want you to get 2 or 3 opinions from some very successful real estate pros in your area. I mean, I'd have them out this week. And I'm just going through my checklist, Jay, jump on here. But I'm going, all right, I want some pros who've been in your market for a long time and they're crushing it. And I'd get their opinion. Multiple opinions, 2 to 3 opinions, so that now we may realize we've got a little bit of time, or no, we need to get out in front of this and list this house right now. They're going to have a really good idea of what's going on in your real estate market, because the last thing you want to do is put it up for sale, right?
That's right.
And this thing drag on, and you hurt yourself. Again, I have no idea, and that's why I want to stay real careful here about making some type of real strong recommendation on what you should do as to whether you list it right now or not. But if you get some advice from 3 really good real estate pros and they're all saying the same thing, and they're going, I'd get out while the getting is good, then I would do that and realize that I can establish myself. And you got a lot of equity in this home. So You got options. Jade, what else would you be thinking?
My biggest thing was the concentration of development and how much per, like how many units per block. Is it going to be a thing where there's just a couple single family homes, or is it really going to be a high concentration? Obviously, a higher concentration could soften the market for you over time. So that's the thing that I was worried about. So I'm with Ken. I would get with somebody that's a professional specifically in your area that could give you more concrete information on what they believe the best timeline would be.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry that's happening to you.